Moin Moin and welcome to Ralfs Foto-Bude and Ralfs Photo Flight. After the unboxing and assembly of the Inspire 1 of DJI, today I will show you the remote control. I will show you the different options you have, and so let's start. First of all, we have the on-off switch of the remote control. I showed you before in the video before how to start the remote control. Just press the button one time shortly and then a second time, and then you will see here the white lights which give you the battery status. If you have 4 lights, the battery is fully charged, and as less lights you get, as more, the battery is uncharged. So the red light says the remote control is not binded to the, or is not connected. Binded is a long word. It's not connected to the Inspire, and so we start the Inspire, and then you will see that the red light changes to green, and so that's the sign that the remote control is connected to the Inspire. So the camera starts. You see the connection is there. This lever changes the landing gear from the down to the up position. If you're indoors and you want to change it, it won't work, so you don't have to take care. Either if you use it at home, it won't work. This switch also changes to the travel mode. If you toggle it 4 times, the copter will lower before you have to take off the camera gimbal, and then the copter will lower and flatten so you can put it in the case. Again, if you want to hire it before the flight to put the gimbal on, toggle it 4 times, and then you will have the upper position and you can put the gimbal on the copter. On this button, if you press the home button in the flight, the copter will fly back to your home position. Take care if there are some trees or buildings in between the flight direction of the copter. The copter will crash if he doesn't fly high enough. So take care when you use the home button that the copter goes high enough. You can change the return to home height in the app. I will show you later how this goes. And so take care that the return to home height is high enough so that the copter can fly over any building, trees or stuff which is in his way. You can stop the return home function if you press the button a second time, and then you can use the sticks to maneuver the copter. In my opinion, when I'm too lazy to fly the copter home, I press the home button when I'm sure that there are no buildings in between or nothing else in between his flight route. And just before the copter lands, I take care of the copter by myself, and the landing I will do with the sticks, so I have the better control to maneuver the copter exactly on the place I want to land him. Talking about the sticks, you have different mode for the 2 sticks. You have mode 1, 2 and 3, and you have an individual mode where you can set up the sticks in the way you want. Usually copter pilots fly in mode 2. If you are a long RC timer and fly lots of models in the last years, you may use mode 1. It depends on the remote control you're using. So, but usually the remote control, the number 2, mode 2 is the one we are flying. In mode 2, if you put the stick up, the copter will climb. If you put the stick down, the copter will go down. If you move the stick to the left side, the copter will make a turn to the left. If you move him to the right side, the copter will make a turn to the right. And the stick here, very simple, forward flying forward, backward flying backward, left left, right, right. So these are the flight directions, the leveled flight directions. Okay, coming to the back side of the remote control. On the back side of the remote control, we have one dial and two buttons, and I will remove the iPad here so you can see what happens when I make the different settings here. I will put the flight app on, then you can see what happens when I'm here, the DJI Pilot-App. So now I'm in the DJI Pilot-App, and when I turn the dial here, it's a little bit difficult because when I'm too close, the connection will break, so I have to be a little bit careful. When I turn the dial, you will see that the exposure correction works. You can see this here at this point, EV, that's the value, and I can change. Now I'm -2, and now it goes up to no correction, and now we have a plus correction. So that's the dial. The dial also is a button, so you can press it also, but the problem is there's no function now at this point. So it's only a dial. Maybe there will come a function. I think it would be a good idea to toggle between the different settings of the camera, to toggle between ISO setting and shutter speed with one press of the button. But in this point now, we have only the exposure correction, and that's it. I go a little bit more down so the picture is a little bit better to see. Next point, that's the one here, the button closer to the antenna. If you press this button, you will make a picture. Now it's the problem, I'm too close to the copter with the antennas, and so we have some disturbance here. If I'm a little bit more far away, there are no disturbance. Now I press the button, and here we are. The copter makes a picture. If we press the other button, we will make a replay. You see, here's my picture I have done. I can use the preview for the other pictures, and I can go up, and even if there's a movie, I can make a replay of the movie which I've taken with the copter. That's the one I've taken last day. So that's the replay button here on the side of the copter. So we have the take a picture, replay, and exposure correction on the right side of the back side of the copter. Going to the left side of the copter, at the left side of the copter, you can imagine the red button. That's very simple to know. The red button means start a video. When we press the button, the video function starts. You can see this also here at the red symbol, and there's the time running. You see 9 seconds, 10 seconds. So that's the option to take a video, and press it again. Oops, press it again, and here we are. The video stops. Next button is next one is the dial here. When we use the dial, you see the camera goes up and down, up and down. But there's this option. There's a button under the remote control. On this one, we can set up so that the copter changes when I press the button now and turn the dial now. The copter or the camera turns in the yaw axis. So I can change by pressing the button, change between the yaw axis, press again, and now we have the tilt function. You cannot use both combined, so you have no option with one remote control to yaw and to tilt at the same time. You can toggle between both functions, but there's no option that you can use it at the same time. If you want to use it at the same time, you have to have an extra remote control, or you do it with your finger on the iPad. You can see I can move the gimbal or the camera with my finger, and so that's another option. But if you want to use a dial, that's not possible to use both actions at the same time, tilt and yaw. You can toggle between both, and that's it. Next point, that's the switch here, and with this switch you can change the flight mode. If we look now here at the top of the display, you see the mode P GPS, and P, I don't know what P means. For me it says program, and in the program mode we have different settings. They change automatically, depends on the GPS signal we have. Normally when we have enough GPS signal, it says safe to fly GPS, that's the green, so that's the best mode we have. So the copter stabilizes in the air with a GPS signal, with a barometer it holds the altitude, and so that's the best option. If we have less satellites, I can do this now. You see ready to fly non-GPS, and it says P-ATI. So that means we have no GPS signal, but you still can start. You can fly the copter, but you have not the GPS support, so you have to maneuver the copter. It may drift away with the wind, and so that's the mode PGPS. And then we have the lowest mode, and the lowest mode there is no ATI and no GPS, so the copter works only with the sensors here underneath the copter. You can make indoor flights, and that's the lowest signal, and it changed then to the next lowest mode. So this is the P mode, and usually when you're not an advanced flyer or copter pilot, usually you start in the P mode. Now we can change here at the remote control this small lever to the middle position, and if we go to the middle position it says warning, cannot switch in the current mode, and the reason is because I have to set up here that I want to fly in the multiple mode and IOC. Now in this app, doesn't matter which one you change, the other one will change also, so you can change one individual. You have to change both, but both change automatically, so but you have to put both two on. And now when I move the switch here, we will see we're in the ATI mode. It says ready to fly, non-GPS. So in this mode you have to maneuver the copter by yourself. The height is automatically held by the barometer, and you have to maneuver left, forward, back, and so on. That's by your own. The copter will drift with the wind. Usually when you make videos, then you can use the ATI mode. The reason why the ATI mode is for video good, because the copter flies very smooth. In the GPS mode, the copter tries to make a correction, and these corrections may not look very smooth in the flight. So if you make advanced movies or video production, it's a good idea to learn how to fly in the ATI mode, because it's much smoother, and you can drift with the wind if you want to make side videos or going with the wind, and so it's a very, very smooth picture when you fly in the ATI mode. Last point here to change, it's the third position, and the third position is the IOC, the Intelligent Orientation Control System. And in the orientation control system, by now we have only one option, that's the orientation lock. And the orientation lock means that the copter flies always to the head if you move the right stick forward. Doesn't matter. No, that's wrong, not in the head. First of all, you have to set the copter in a certain direction in which the head of the copter points. And then you set reset, and it says, yes, reset IOC is successful. And then this is your direction. This is always the direction to fly forward, backward, left and right. So it doesn't matter when you have set the IOC and have set the calibration, front is this direction, then it doesn't matter in which direction you turn the copter. It's always the same. The copter will fly in this direction forward. Doesn't matter if the copter points to the left side, to the right side, or if the nose points towards you. Doesn't matter. If you use the IOC and the orientation lock, it's always the same, and you can reset it. So if you want to make flights the long side of a building and this side of the building, and you want always use the forward stick to fly along the side of the building, then you turn the copter so the nose shows to this side. You set reset, and all the time when you put the stick, the right stick forward, the copter flies in this direction. Doesn't matter in which direction the nose shows. It's always the same. So that's the IOC orientation lock. If you know DJIs and fly the Phantoms, then you know, or Wukong or stuff like this, then you know that we usually have in the IOC two other modes. And the other modes are home lock, where the copter flies all the time towards you when you pull the right stick backwards, and the copter all the time flies away from you when you put the right stick forward. And the other flight is point of interest, where you can set a point of interest and you can circle the copter around this point. It's kind of home point in the distance what you do. That's the point of interest. And these two options, point of interest and the home lock mode or the home mode, these two options are not available by now. They will come later, says DJI. So at this time we only have the orientation lock and not home lock and point of interest flying. So these are the two things which will come up on a later release. Okay, so these are the three functions here on the small lever of the remote control. This one is the small lever. We change between PAT and IOC system. When we look on the underside of the copter, we see two more buttons. One of the button I explained to you before, that's C2, and you can customize, that means the letter C, customize these two buttons. And as I said before, I have customized the button number 2 to toggle between the yaw axis and the tilt axis for the camera. The number C1 or the C1, I have set up that the camera, when I press the button, that the camera always points in direction of the nose. I can show you, I turn the copter now, so it's a little bit easier to understand what I mean. Here is the Inspire. Now I turn the camera around the yaw axis. As you can see, I turn the camera. Maybe I fly along a building and want to hold the building in the middle of the scene. And now I press the button and the camera immediately points in direction of the nose. So this is good if you get lost in orientation. I know you have the app here, and I know you have the option where you can see in which direction you fly. You can see the flight route on the map. But if you lose your orientation and you want to be sure that you fly in the right direction, just press C1. If you have programmed this to C1, just press C1 and you see the camera points immediately in direction of the nose. So these are the two customizable buttons under the remote control. Coming to the last point, and these are the connectors here at the back side of the copter, of the remote control, sorry. These are the connectors here at the back side. We have the USB connector where you put in the cable for your tablet or a smartphone, and where you make the firmware update. Then we have a DJI special connector where you can put in later accessories, maybe an additional GPS module or stuff like this. I don't know what they will do there, but there's a accessory port from DJI. Then you have a small USB connector, and very important, you have the HDMI output. And the HDMI output works also if you have the iPad or your mobile device on the remote control, so you can see the picture on the remote control, and you get a picture over the HDMI output. I usually use the Cinemizer, because the Cinemizer, for me, it's a very good option when I fly alone. I don't have to look to the iPad here, but I have the Cinemizer on my eyes, and I can look over the Cinemizer to see the copter and see the flight route. And just here in the Cinemizer, I can see the flight picture, the FPV picture. I have the information about the flight height and everything I need. So when I fly alone, it's a very good option to control the copter for me perfectly. On the other hand, if you have customers and you make business flights, you can give them the glasses and he will see the picture during your flight, so he can make corrections, or he can make wishes if he says, okay, this is a good point where you can make a picture from my building or stuff like this. And so he can see the picture very clear in the Cinemizer and can give you hints or tips or information where he wants to get pictures from. And so that's a nice service for customers of you. When you look in the glasses, you will see the height, you will see the GPS signal, you will see the distance and so on, and the speed. So you have all the important informations here. If you want to set up a second screen, maybe you want to make indoor flights or stuff like this, or you want to go on sport events and show the results or the pictures on a big screen, you can remove the information, so you have only the picture and nothing else on the screen. So that's possible. I will show you this also here in the app later on in my next tutorial. Okay, so these are the options. One thing, the transmission is not full HD, it's the small HD resolution 720, and so you can put an external device like a Shogun von Atomos on, but you won't get the full HD resolution, and for sure you won't get the 4K resolution, that's for sure. You only have the small HD resolution here at the HDMI output, and also on the screen here you have the small HDMI resolution. But yes, if you want, you can put an external device on it and record the HDMI signal from the remote control. Okay, so these are the most important functions of the remote control of the Inspire 1. In my next tutorial, I will explain you the DJI Pilot-App. I think I will divide it in two parts, in the general part for the setup of the copter, and the second part for the video settings, because there are a lot of video settings you can make and a lot of things you can change and set up. So I think I will do it in two tutorials. That's it for today for the remote control of the DJI Inspire 1. Inspire 1, that's German. Inspire 1, sorry. I hope you enjoyed it and hope it helped you a little bit to understand the Inspire 1. And yeah, thank you for watching me. If you like my video, as always, please give me a like and subscribe to my channel. You can share this video for sure. And yes, have fun while flying. And as always, bye and moin moin.